All right, a quick PSA about distracted driving. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. We have one of the highest rates of distracted driving in the United States, but I've noticed a different kind of distracted driving. I walk a lot here in the Phoenix area, and I've learned the hard way with a few close calls that it is not enough to make eye contact with the driver. A lot of times they'll see you, but they'll not see you. And another time I sometimes run into trouble is when I'm driving. One time I wanted to get the driver's attention for some reason. They had something that was about to fall out of their trunk or something, and I honked and waved at them, and they were too laser focused on something else that they didn't hear me, they didn't see me, and a lot of drivers, they might not be distracted by their phone, but their mind is not on the road for whatever reason, right? Especially the most terrifying thing I run into is somebody making a left turn. So you got a crosswalk, and somebody's making a left turn. They got to come into oncoming traffic, and they've started the turn, and they could care less about mowing you down, right? They don't want to be run over. They don't want to be hit by oncoming traffic. I always wonder what would happen if somebody had to be given a choice between running somebody over or being hit by oncoming traffic. I really despise turns. Like in an ideal world, I think we should get rid of left turns, right? Because I personally try to map out directions where I can avoid them. I wish Google had a feature that you could say no left turns, right? Similar to how you might be able to avoid the freeways, right? But I want to point out something, though. I've witnessed a few distracted driving accidents here in just a few weeks. It's not unusual for there to be a huge traffic jam, and then the next thing you see is glass and metal fragments on the road, and then two cars bent out of shape. I got to point out something. Even when nobody's hurt doing that, I sometimes just outside of the campus we have a street called Olive Avenue. It's 35 miles an hour. Very difficult to get hurt doing that. Sometimes you just see two bent out of shape cars and then glass and metal on the road. I got to point out something. The person doing that, they had a 10-second, 30-second distraction. Now they got to spend weeks and weeks getting their cars repaired. They have to deal with insurance companies. I don't need to tell you how long you have to wait on hold to call an insurance company and deal with that. And then they got to pay higher insurance premiums for a number of years. And if they miss work, they have to deal with the fallout of that. All so that they could, quote unquote, spend 10 seconds dealing with a text, right? You think that's worth it?